correct. Today's your lucky day because today I'm gonna help you make all your wildest dreams come true.
Welcome to Nessa Make Stuff. Welcome to Nessa Make Stuff. Welcome to Nessa Make Stuff, where you can make stuff too.
This is Nessa Make Stuff. Hi, I'm Nessa. I make stuff. And on this channel, you can make stuff too. And how we're going to do that is we're going to make a vision board. You might be asking yourself, what is a vision board? It's magic. Or if you don't believe in magic, you could say that it's a conversation with your subconscious. It's the first week of January, and it's a really good time to kind of decide what direction you want your life to go. But it doesn't have to be a New Year's craft. You can do this any time of year, whenever you feel like you want to take action and make some changes in your life. If you have goals and manifestations and plans and dreams, anything that you want to make happen, a vision board is a really great way to get the ball rolling. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a new year and a new me. And this me is gonna be really f***ing magical. I'm gonna manifest subscribers, I'm gonna manifest views, I'm gonna manifest money, and I'm gonna manifest a really hot looking, good abs boyfriend. Because abs are better than personality, right? But it's up to you what you want to manifest with your vision board. Don't let me stop you from living your best life. It's a really easy craft, and you don't have to be a master maker like me to do it. Well, I think I'm ready to get started. Let's go! First off, let's talk about the supplies you're gonna need for your vision board. Make sure you watch all the way to the end, and then we'll talk about some variations and alternatives to this style of a vision board. But for now, what you're gonna need is a glue stick. White glue works too, but I have a preference for the glue stick. Scissors are gonna come in handy unless you want to give your vision board a torn, ripped out look, which is also kind of cool, but just for the sake of convenience, let's use some scissors today. The next thing I want to talk about is what you're going to put your vision on. The literal board, if you will. I have a couple different sizes of cardboard here. I haven't decided which one I want to use for my vision board yet. I think I'm going to decide after I cut a few things out and see how much space I'm going to need. The stiffness of the board will keep it looking nice and make it easier to display later if you're just using a floppy piece of paper. It's gonna be a little bit harder to get it looking good and display it where you can see it later. Now, so far you probably have already had everything that I told you you needed, and nowadays this next supply might be a little bit harder to get, but you're going to need some magazines. I understand most people don't really buy magazines as much anymore. The good thing about magazines not being so popular anymore is if you go to the thrift store, you can either get them for really, really cheap, or if you're lucky like me, they even just give them away for free. But today, I've decided to use some Enchanted Living magazines. These are actually doubles. I have kept the original ones for reading, and then I have second ones for cutting up and crafting, just because I love the content so much. Now, the next supplies are just optional, but they're just extras. If you want to give your vision board a little bit more of an aesthetic look and not just a random collage look from magazines, you can also have things like stickers, or these really cool doilies, or other craft papers, whatever you feel like adding to your vision board. It's all about you and what you want in your life. So make sure that you pick according. I'm going to get started by going through the magazines and just cutting out everything that catches my eye. I've already decided some themes that I want to be working with this year, which includes success in all manners. But sometimes success for me means living a comfortable life. So if I want to manifest a lot of money, I don't necessarily need a picture of a dollar bill, but maybe a picture of the life that a lot of money would give me. Here's a really great example of an image that means something to me, but you probably wouldn't quite get it. Fun fact, I'm a Capricorn, and that means that I'm a goat, and goats like to climb. And here's a picture of some goats in a tree. This is the Capricorn's climb to success. This is a really great picture to represent what I want to achieve this year. Since it's a whole page, I think I will just tear this one out. I'm going to trim this down as needed when it's time to put it on my vision board. Here's another part to that article where they show the progression of a photo of a goat being turned into a unicorn. Now, I understand that this is meant to be a practical look at how they have used Photoshop to achieve a fantasy look, but it can also be considered to be a conceptual type manifestation, sort of visual of turning something that's not so magical into something that's truly magical, which is something I want to achieve this year. So maybe this progression of photos could also go on my vision board. I found a picture of a lady painting. I want to paint this year, so why did I put this on my vision board? Before I cut things out, I always like to check and see what's on the other side. Maybe there's an image that I love even more. So don't forget to do that because you don't want to cut something you love the most in half. Subscribe today. These garden images are really beautiful and could represent all the blooming and growth that I want to achieve this year. Have all my magazine things cut and ripped out now, so I can decide which size of board I want to use. I've decided to use this old canvas that I have. I think it's a nice happy medium and should fit all of these images nicely. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pick my largest images and lay those out first, and then work my way to the smaller images and layer those on top. Start laying these things out and getting an idea of what I want it to look like before I actually glue them down. Be wondering how these vision boards work and why exactly putting pictures onto a board is going to make all your dreams come true. Well, it's kind of like a way of telling the universe what you want. It's making a wish list. But the universe is mysterious, so sometimes the best way to do that is to not be too literal about it. And that's why it's so great to use symbolism and abstract concepts rather than just writing a list that says, I want $1 million. It's the way that we talk to our subconscious is through symbolism and stuff like that. Think of when you have a dream. It's never really all that literal. So it's kind of like talking to your subconscious in the language that it understands. Looking at your board every day is really what does the magical trick. It reminds your subconscious mind and the universe that this is something that's important to you, and to always be on the lookout for opportunities and ways to make this happen. I've got everything all laid out, and I think I'm ready to start gluing. So, get my handy dandy glue stick. It's brand new. Nothing like that brand new glue smell. I think I'm just gonna start in the corner and work my way across. Pro tip, if your glue's getting a little bit dry, just give it a little lick. It doesn't taste the same as it did when I was in elementary school. That's okay. When you're all done gluing your vision board, it should look something like this. I think I'm also going to find something to maybe, oops. And we're all done. You can frame this, you can seal it with something if you want to, but essentially, this is what we have. Now, I made you a promise to tell you other ways to do this. And another thing that you can do if you don't want to make a whole board for the year is you can get a scrapbook and do 1 page for each month. And then that way your goals are more current and not so long term. Maybe it's a little bit easier for you to manifest them if they're not too big and too far away. Just be sure to always look back on your previous pages as you move through the year so that you keep the subliminal messages flowing into your subconscious and out into the universe. The other way that you can make a vision board is you can do it digitally. Now, I did this a couple years ago, and what I really liked about that is I was not limited at all to the images I wanted to use. So by making your vision board on something like Photoshop or Canva, you can make it much more aesthetically pleasing and fit a whole vibe and a little less random. When I did the digital one, I set that image as the desktop background to my computer. Honestly, I can't really remember what was on that board, so I can't say for sure if I manifested that stuff or not, because that was a little while ago. But I decided to try the physical board this year. I'm pretty sure it's gonna work, and by this time next year, I'll be a famous YouTuber that drinks magical things and smells good and has lavish parties because I'm so rich and famous. Now, the hard part for me is going to be finding somewhere to put my vision board that I can see it every day and isn't a hassle. For example, if I was to put this on my windshield because I drive my car almost every day, it would get in the way and be a safety hazard. So don't do that. I'm also really excited to be the goat. The greatest of all time that wears a crown. That's gonna be me, because I'm a master maker. I'd love to know what you think I should make next. Leave your suggestions and your ideas in the comments. You never know, I might pick your idea. And if you loved this video about creating magic and doing things with intention, you might want to check out my other video about crafting intention candles. I'll have that on the screen right now for you. See you next time.
This is